Welcome to GD's English tutorial. Today in this video I'm going to discuss how to write a notice. There is often a question on notice writing for CBSE class 12 students. So today we'll learn how to write a notice. Well, let's start. First, let's understand the meaning of the word notice. A notice is simply an announcement, as you can see on the slide. It's an announcement or intimation of something that is going to happen in the future. It's a piece of written information on paper, board or website. It's written to inform people of various events, issues and public instructions. So notice is nothing but a formal announcement or an intimation of something which will take place in the future. It's a written information on paper, board, website, and the purpose of writing a notice is to inform people of various events, issues, incidents, public instruction, etc. Let's move on to the next slide. Here there are some tips of writing a notice. First, we should always use present tense and future tense while writing a notice, because something is going to happen in future, so most often the going to form is also used, or simple future tense, and sometimes simple present tense is also used. Then second point, remember that the sentences are often in passive constructions. While writing notice, you should use passive clauses. For example, a debate competition is going to be organized. So passive sentences. And finally, after writing the notice, keep it in a box. So this is a part of notice writing. So these are some important points to keep in mind while writing a notice. Let's see the next slide. So here is format of a notice. So what is the format? Format is important. The first step of writing a notice is heading. Heading means the name of the organization, company who issues the notice. So on top of your notice, you'll be writing the heading. For example, the place of the issue of the notice. Secondly, of course, the word notice, and then the subject. The subject is optional, you may or may not mention the subject, but after heading you have to write the word in capital letters, notice, and you should also underline the word notice. And then fourth point, date of issue of the notice, the date of writing the notice. It may be mentioned on top left or top right hand corner. After that comes the important part of a notice, which is body or content. The body or content of the notice answers the questions like who, what, when, where and how. For example, who, what is going to happen, when is that going to take place, where and how. So if you answer these 5 WH questions, you will be writing the content part of your notice. And lastly, signature and designation of the person who writes the notice. So these are the important points to be observed while writing the notice. and this includes the format of the notice. So I repeat, first you must mention the heading, the name of the organization, institute, company from where the notice is being issued. Secondly, of course, the word notice, and thirdly, subject may or may not be mentioned, and fourthly, the date of issue of the notice. Next, the body or content part of the notice. For example, the body will answer the questions like who, what, when, where, how, and finally the name and signature and designation of the person writing the notice. So this is what is the format of the notice. Next, let's see an example of a notice. Here are some important beginning lines, some probable beginning lines of notice. You can start something like this. This is to inform all, for example, all the students and staff members that the subject what you are going to inform. Or this way also you can begin. This is here we inform to all means to whom are you going to inform, that what are you going to inform, or it is hereby notified to whom, that means which you are going to inform. So these are some probable beginnings of notice. Let's see the next slide. Yeah, this is the layout of a notice. As we have already discussed these things, I have just shown you the format of writing the notice. First heading, then the word notice, then date must be mentioned, subject of course optional, then the content part in 3-4 sentences, trying to answer the questions like what, when, where, etc. And finally signature, name and designation of the person writing the notice place. And after writing the notice, you will keep the whole notice in a box like this. So you will draw a box to keep your notice. This will keep it in a box. Okay, so let's see the next slide. Here is a sample question on notice. For example, you are Dear Rahman, Secretary, Adventure Club, Fatima High School, Fatima Convent High School, Guwahati. Your school has planned a trekking expedition to a hilly place for the senior students. Draft a notice in not more than 50 words to be displayed in the school notice board. The word limit normally given is 50 words. So here is a sample example of notice on this question. So heading, you are writing the notice from Fatima Convent High School, Guwahati. So this is the heading. We have kept Fatima Convent High School, Guwahati heading. Then the word notice. Then you have put the date here in top left hand corner. Of course, you can mention the date on top right hand corner. So this place is also acceptable for date. On 15th of September 2020, you are writing the notice. So this is the date. Then this content part. For example, this is to inform. Since you are going to inform the senior students of the school, this is to inform all the senior students that what are you going to inform? The Adventure Club of our school has decided to organize a 10-day trekking expedition in Himachal Pradesh, tentatively during the first week of May. When? The answer to the question when is given here for senior students. The expected expenditure for the expedition is likely to be around 7,000 rupees. Willing and physically fit students are advised to register their names with the undersigned along with parents' permission letter and an advance of 1,000 rupees on or before 25th August, something like this. So you give a last date before which the contribution to be paid. So you have mentioned what are you going to inform, whom you are going to inform, and the other necessary details. For further information, you can contact the undersigned. So this is the person who writes the notice. His designation is Secretary, Adventure Club, Fatima Convention. And you should never forget to keep the whole notice in a box after writing it. So keep in a box in this way. So keep the whole notice in a box. So in this way you keep it in a box. So these are some important elements. Let me repeat once again. Heading, the word notice, date, subject, body. This is the body. Then the name and designation of the person who writes the notice. Okay, so this is how you can write a good notice. Let's move on to the next slide. So here is an exercise, 2 questions for yourself to try to write the answers to these 2 questions on notice. I hope the video will help you to write notices in your examination. Thank you for watching the video.